Hey guys, welcome back to another book review here on my YouTube channel. Now we are reviewing the Within Range by Ruth Stilling. This is part of the Blade King series. This is the fifth and final book in the series. Now this book has a trope that I have read previously and did not ever think that I would read again because I thought that this was a very specific trope. This is a best friend's daughter trope, which obviously comes with age gap, and I'm a sucker for age gap. It's just that when it's like best friend's daughter, I feel like that's super like specific. But this one I would say was truly enjoyable. I would give it a solid 5 stars. This follows Emmett, who is a 35-year-old player for the Blade Kings, which is the New York professional hockey team. And this is Billy. She is 21. And she is the daughter of his best friend, Scott. So basically, how the story starts is it starts with Billy coming back to New York. Now, she was originally, I believe, in either Atlanta or Alabama, somewhere down south, at college, studying, and she kind of wanted to go studying to be a lawyer, and she wanted to go to college somewhere further away from her parents to just grow her wings. And she ends up dating somebody named Tucker, and she ends up getting pregnant. And Tucker was like, oh, we'll like move into this house together and we'll like be together. And then he ends up deciding to not at all be in her life or the child's life, so she ends up coming back to New York because she doesn't want to have the baby alone. And what was it, might have even been Dallas. Honestly, can't remember. But somewhere down south, she was like, I don't want to have the baby alone down there if, the father of my child is not going to be in my child's life. So she ends up coming to New York back to live with her parents, and it's her birthday, and Emmett decides to come over to give her a birthday present, and that's when he sees her for the first time in 3 years, because he hadn't seen her since before she went to college, because she hasn't really come up to visit. It was mainly her parents that would go down and visit her. So she always kind of like had a crush on him, but like she was like, he's much older and my father's best friend, so blah blah blah. And he was also married at the time, but I think he like got divorced like a few months before he saw her for the first time again, because like his marriage with his wife just like wasn't working out. We also learned later on that his wife cheated on him, but that's besides the point because we learn that so later on. So he ends up seeing her for the first time in 3 years, and she's 21 now, and he's like, wow, she's beautiful, such a grown woman. And then he sort of realizes he should probably keep his distance from her because he's like starting to develop like some feelings for her. But then what ends up like making him sort of start to be unable to keep his distance from her is she needs to go to the doctor because she has some concerns about the baby. Her father was driving to come pick her up, but he gets in an accident and is injured. He ends up being fine, but he's injured, so he's unable to take her to the doctors. So he calls Emmett, and Emmett's like, oh, I'll definitely take her to the doctors. And then Emmett takes her to the doctors where they have like an ultrasound and all of that, and it ends up being like everything ends up being like okay with the baby, but they kind of connect. And then he ends up like taking her out to lunch because she's like hungry and stuff. And then she ends up like moving out from her parents' place into her own apartment because her father ends up being like, oh, we kind of needs money to be able to help support her, and he wants her to be able to live in an apartment by herself because that's what she wants, to live in her own apartment. So he wants her to be able to do that without having to find a job right away and to be able to just care for the baby for the first little bit. But he financially is like not really able to support it, so he talks to Emmett, and Emmett's like, sure, I'll give you like money, no problem, like how much you need. So Emmett gives his best friend Scott, who is her father, money, but Scott doesn't tell her or her mother like how he got the money, like who he actually got it from. He just said that he had some shares in his company, and the shares were worth a lot more, so he just cashed them out now to be able to get the money. So she ends up living in an apartment on her own with her baby, and he ends up coming over the day that she moves in to help her unpack, and stays late into the night to help her unpack because she's like, she wants everything unpacked like the same day. Basically, they order pizza and they just connect, and they both end up kind of realizing that they have feelings for each other, and they just keep like hanging out and just like texting back and forth without obviously her father knowing. And then obviously I think it's like at the 3/4 mark that like the blowout happens and that her father ends up finding out. But I think before that, still in like the 3/4 mark, but before the whole situation happened, we have one of like a scene that I kind of quite enjoy. So one of his nicknames for her is Mama, by the way, which I think is super cute. And he just kind of like has true feelings for her and just like loves her and her baby. And at one point she asked, I think this is from his POV, by the way, but she asks him, what are we, M? So this is Billy, and obviously she was asking Emmett, like, what are we? And he goes, we're so fucking good together, that's what we are. And she goes, but when you say together, do you actually mean we're dating, or are we stuck in a, and he goes, you're my girlfriend, mama, if that's what you want to, then I'm yours. And then she goes, I can't believe we're doing this, you and me and Blake, we're actually going to give us a child. By the way, Blake is her daughter's name, her baby that she'd given birth to. I thought that was kind of cute, that you know, that he was like kind of like really like honest, and I know, and the use of the nickname too is cute. And then obviously there's the explosion where her father finds out. Her father finds out through his ex-wife, because I don't know if I mentioned that, like, a couple months before he reconnected with her, he divorced from his ex-wife, and he said that, like, they had like separated and then gotten back together many times, but he realized, like, finally this was like the final time, like, they're separated, they're not getting back together. But his wife saw her loading some suitcases and him strapping the baby into his car from his apartment, because he took them on a weekend getaway. And so she sees that, and she didn't know, like, she didn't stay long enough to see anything else, but she just kind of like figured from that they were like possibly like a couple and together. And so she ends up so his ex-wife ends up telling her father about it, and then her father is like, obviously being his best friend, feels betrayed and everything, and he's just like, oh, like, she's just a rebound for you and blah blah blah, and tries to tell her that, like, he's a rebound, like, and then it ends up coming to light the money situation, that he gave her father money, and she's like, he's just buying like access to you, and he's like, no, that's not it. And so he ends up being confronted by her father in the parking lot of the arena where he plays hockey, and her father is like punching him, but he's like, the best course of action is for me to not retaliate, for me to just stand here. So he just stands there, and he has witnesses, and he just takes the beatings. He doesn't punch back, he doesn't, he just stands there and just takes it. He feels like that's the best course of action, PR wise, and just like in general, to not fight back, to just stand there and take it, which I thought was like pretty interesting. And there's like a few other scenes later on that end up being my favorite. But one of them is where he ends up having his whole apartment redecorated, because it was never truly decorated. It was always just, he had like one fake plant in the corner and called it a day, but he actually had it redecorated, and he had a special room made specific, like the room for the baby, in the hope that they would work out, and that eventually she would move in. But I think that comes after this scene. So in this particular chapter, what chapter is this? This is chapter 45. They end up going to a bar that he would often frequent with her father to watch like different sports games on TV. But he kind of like didn't think, when he initially thought to go to this bar, that maybe her father would be there and like would still see them together. And so then her father ends up being there, sees them, but doesn't come up to them. She doesn't go up to her father until a little bit later. But Emmett ends up asking her, like, is Blake due for a diaper change? And so then he goes to take Blake, and he goes, let me take this one, mama. The male restrooms have a change table, and B doesn't mind her daddy taking charge in the diaper department. Now I think that I liked that line, because I liked when he said B doesn't mind her daddy taking charge in the diaper department, because I like how he's immediately like yes, his baby's not his, and yes, they're just dating, but I love how he's automatically like, yeah, I'm her daddy. Like, I just thought that was so cute. And then she ends up, when he goes to take Blake for the diaper change, she ends up going up to her father to talk to her father, and her father goes, Daddy, Emmett sure is taking to the role like duck to water. His tone drips with sarcasm, and all I can do is respond with facts. And she goes, he's incredible with Blake, and she loves him too. And then her father goes, is he still giving you money? And she goes, you make it sound like he's buying access to me and my daughter, when you couldn't be further from the truth. And then her father goes, that's precisely what he's doing, Bill. And she goes, with the way you're carrying on right now, it's almost like you never knew Emmett before you found out about us dating. And he goes, I didn't know him before. Sometimes it takes years for people to show you their true colors, no matter how well you thought you knew them. Look at Maria. And she goes, Emmett is nothing like Maria, and you know it. That's a really unfair comparison to make, and a really hurtful one too. So I like how she stands up for him, against, like, she stands up for Emmett against her father. And then towards the end, she ends up saying, to her dad towards the end, I love you with every piece of my heart, so please don't let pride and bitterness stand in the way of the truth. When you're ready to talk, I'll always be here. When you want to see Blake, I'll always bring her over to see you, but for now I need to step away from our relationship, because clearly this level of anger isn't doing either of us any good. And honestly, I thought that was actually a really mature thing for her to say. Keep in mind she's 21. So the author wrote the character with a lot of maturity despite her being 21. And I just thought I would give this one, like, I don't know if I already gave a star rating, but I would give this one a solid 5 stars. I truly did enjoy this book. And again, it's the 5th and final series in the Blake King series. And I think it was a perfect wrap up to the series. Truly enjoyed it. And it's self-published. I think supporting self-published authors is great, because I know it's harder for them to kind of get out there, and they have to do all the promotion themselves. And I think having a publisher allows you to be in bookstores. And I think this book is only available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. Like, you won't go to, like, for instance, Indigo and easily find it there. But I have read a lot of books from self-published authors. I've read 2 series from Ruth Stilling, and I will read more from her, as well as Chelsea Curto is self-published. There's a couple others I'm not thinking, that I can't think of right now, that are self-published. Oh, we have Holly Renee with Cowboy Casual that's self-published. So there's a lot of great self-published books out there. And so I love to, like, go through Amazon and just, like, search up hockey romance, or, like, even TikTok, search up hockey romance and see what there is out there, and realizing and getting to support authors who are working their hardest to write books and have to do all the marketing themselves and really get out there. So this was a really good book. Like I said, 5 stars. Would recommend this book. I would say read the series in order. Start with the first book, work your way towards this book. I will say the Blade, she has 2 hockey romance series out, the Seattle Scorpions and the Blade Kings. Seattle Scorpions is first, and then it's Blade Kings. I would say the Seattle Scorpions is still my, like, favorite between that and the Blade Kings, but this one is probably one of my favorites in the Blade Kings series. I don't have a ranking yet. I could probably do a ranking video for you if you would like to see that, where I rank all of my favorite books in the order of least to most favorite of my Ruth Stilling books that I've read. I do believe she has another hockey romance series in the works. She did tease it in the epilogue of this book, or in the second to last chapter of this book. So I am excited for that and cannot wait to read those. But yeah, 5-star book. Could not recommend it more. Truly enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you haven't missed a brand new video from me. You can follow me by going to @romanceblvd on Instagram. That stands for Romance Boulevard, as well as Romance Boulevard fully spelled out on TikTok, where I am posting 7 days a week, hopefully 365 days a year. And you can also follow my Hockey Romance digital book club at Romancing the Ice on Instagram. Until the next time, bye.